Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie on Monday, the 9th of December 2024. How is it going for you in the pre Christmas, pre solstice season of light, of inner light, of heart light, of candle light, of all the lights that are shining brightly now through the night? And yeah, of course, as lots of electricity is being put out and hopefully even more joy and in a heart light that doesn't cost anything and that is very sustainable and renewable. So, yeah, the newest piece in astrology has been over the weekend, actually three parts. One was Mars going retrograde, is now freshly retrograde since the 6th of December. Then also on December 6th, Venus entered Aquarius. And on December 7th, Venus passed Pluto in Aquarius, plus Neptune in Pisces went from retrograde to direct again. All of that will be catalyzed with the upcoming full moon that we're having on the 15th of December. So we're counting down now to the full moon on the 15th, to winter solstice on the 21st, to Christmas on the 25th, to New Year's Eve on the 31st, to New Year's on the 1st, and also on the new counting down also to the new moon in between. The new moon in Capricorn will be on the 30th of December, just for basically a preparation and intro into the new year. Lots going on and lots of mutable energy, especially as we're in SAG season and coming up to the very mutable Gemini SAG full moon. So let's dive right into the full moon chart of the 15th of December. And you can see everything I just mentioned there. And I'll talk a little bit about these components. So here is the full moon chart. The full moon will be exact on the 15th of December at 1:02 a.m. Pacific Pacific Standard Time. You can see in the chart that it will be night at the time of the full moon. It will be the sun will be below the horizon, just after the midnight point here, and the moon will be bright up there in the sky from our west coast perspective, together with Jupiter. The moon will have passed Jupiter on that same day. Just see when that is. On the day before, on the 14th, the moon will have passed Jupiter at 10:43 a.m. So this will be a very full moon Jupiter weekend coming up. Okay, so what's that even all about? And so much can be said. That's also a Gemini thing. So many meanings can be attributed to it. And ultimately, it all comes down to the heart, to the heart of hearts, right? We're also approaching the Galactic Centre days. What is that? That is typically in the year, December 15th to 20th. In that time frame, the sun will pass in the zodiac the last 6-7 degrees of Sagittarius, and that is also where, if you project it further into our galaxy beyond the constellation of Sagittarius, this is where the Milky Way galaxy, the center of the Milky Way galaxy, is. Galactic Centre, literally 26 to 28 Sagittarius. And what does that mean? It is basically also the cross of time and space. It is also the deep womb, the unfathomable. You could say also it's a black hole, astronomers say. At the same time, it's also a birthing place for our galaxy, and this is very symbolic as well, right? So where does everything come from and go to, right? These are the ultimate questions that bring us into deep philosophy and deep meaning and finding the light in these darkest days and nights of the year. Hence, also the miracle of Christmas being attributed to that season. Then we have, as I said, Moon and Jupiter together, right? You saw it here. Moon and Jupiter will be up in the sky when the moon is full at 1:02 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 15th, while the moon will have already passed Jupiter on the 14th, right? So quite a Jupiter moon weekend ahead in Gemini. Even more coming and goings, even more options, even more diversity of diversion, right? Also division, right? But at the same time, also opportunities to raise our vibrations with song, with caroling, with chants, with music. All of that is very Gemini, Sagittarius, and also even Pisces involved. This full moon is also comes with the build up of a T-square, or it's a build up of a square, I should say, of Jupiter and Saturn. And the Sun has already been in square with Saturn last week and in opposition with Jupiter. And the moon goes into that with a full moon. What does all that mean? So all of this is wrapping also around this bigger alignment between the two largest planets of the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn. And they constitute the first crisis since the Jupiter-Saturn alignment, since they were together at winter solstice 2020. So now, 4 years later, there's a crisis of what was initiated at the time. And they came together at the first degree of Aquarius. That's where Pluto is currently, right? So they came together to plant a seed for our shared humanity and its future, its journey forward, right? So humanity needs a future and needs to be the future and needs to also, with Pluto now, come more into its power. And that applies, of course, also to each of us individually to contribute. And power typically also has to do with core issues, with shadow, either to transcend the shadow or come more into your indestructible core that nobody can hijack or nobody can really destroy, right? And it is always there. It is soul power. And we need to contribute our best, our soul power to the evolution of humanity. So that's been the promise of that alignment of Saturn, Jupiter in 2020. At the same time, it was also a start of a new socio-political economic cycle, a 20-year cycle. And now with Pluto, it goes deeper, right? So every 20 years, Jupiter and Saturn come together, but rarely would Pluto step into that same degree shortly thereafter, right? So this is part of a bigger evolution. And so what is Jupiter in Gemini now in this crisis phase and Saturn in Pisces have to do with the current situation, and how is this being catalyzed by the full moon? So yes, the full moon is primarily about Jupiter, right? Since the moon will be in Gemini next to Jupiter. So now we're having, as I said, so much going on, so many options, so many avenues we could take. But that is, of course, Gemini-wise, rather a cerebral thing, a mental thing. Can be also a, if you coming from a Scorpio or Pluto perspective, a superficial thing, right? So we could do all these things that could bring us joy and could offer all these joyful gifts, right? And make the world at this season brighter and lighter. Have your heart be light, right? As the carol goes, right? May your heart be light. That is also very Sagittarius, Gemini, and at the same time, we could also scatter ourselves, right? There's so much we could engage in. Gemini is like a pollinator. The Gemini season is, of course, before the summer solstice. And there's all these different flowers we could go to all these different beautiful events and so on. And the question is really, where does your heart say yes to, and where do you just, scatter your energy, right? At the same time, also lots of puzzle pieces are coming together to constitute deeper truths, right? So the puzzle pieces of information is Gemini again, and that will be really a big deal, and a lot comes to fruition with that full moon. And also Gemini is good at questions and at questioning, right? So actually scientific energy together with Aquarius. But the Gemini side asks questions. The Sagittarius has answers, but Sagittarius is more an energy of truth. It's not so much a mental thing, it's more a heart thing, right? And it can even have to do with religion and with beliefs, right? Versus questions. So we are navigating the dichotomy of questions, of conversations, Gemini, and deeper beliefs and deeper truths. Our yes, right? Sagittarius is a yes, and goes with that yes, with trust, right? Going into trust is really important with Sagittarius, despite all these questions and all these doubts, right, Gemini? Then, as I said, Saturn in Pisces is in square with that full moon. And even Neptune is in white square with that full moon. It's, yeah, pretty much a T-square with Neptune and Saturn. And the Neptune piece is super significant acutely, because Neptune just turned direct 2 days ago on the 7th in Pisces, at the very end of Pisces, double Pisces. So that is also an energy of, real surrender. It's not just about trust from the Sagittarius side. It's about faith. It's about letting go. It's about allowing things to come together, adaptation, just being, right? And also releasing. Also releasing actually old residues of Pisces age phenomena, and they can have to do with themes of codependency, of unnecessary suffering, of victimhood, right? Of actually positioning yourself unnecessarily as a victim, or being a savior, being a rescuer, depending what your inclination is, right? And so all of that is being washed out now, and the chaos as well, right? So Pisces can turn into quite a chaotic energy and overwhelming energy. On the flip side, on the positive side, it's an energy, it's like oceanic, where we actually immerse ourselves in joyfully, right? And with lots of bliss, right? But it's always a spectrum, and if things turn toxic from the Pisces side and codependent, we need to swim away. We need to release that and not going into any addictive or facilitating addictions. So any of that. So also Saturn, as I said, is in Pisces. You can see it again. Here's the chart. So here's Neptune. That I have to pencil that in. That is actually a T-square from the full moon axis to Neptune, while there's a square from Jupiter next to the full moon to Saturn, right? So there's a lot of mutable energy. All of this is mutable. Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, nothing in Virgo right now, but that's enough already. And there's lots of movement. And so the Saturn in Pisces in square with Jupiter, right? As I said, it's a crisis since their alignment in 2020, since the Jupiter-Saturn alignment of the big, largest planets of the solar system, starting a new socio-political cycle, economic cycle, and now there's a crisis, right? So we're seeing, typically that's what happens, right? In that 20-year cycle, every 4 or 5 years, there's a critical point, right? So it's like divided by 4, 20, it's about 5. And so this square of Jupiter-Saturn comes 3 times. The first time was already on in on August 19th. The second one comes at Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve comes the second alignment. The third comes when Saturn and Jupiter will be already fully in Cancer. That's from June 9th on. And Saturn will be at that time freshly in Aries. Yeah, Saturn moves relatively fast next year and will be from July 12th on already in Aries. I have to give you the date so you can see that actually the date when their alignment is. It's kind of just escapes me at this moment, but I will write a specific article. It's in the summer, right? So I write a specific article about Jupiter-Saturn square because that's really a significant marker of the highlight actually of the month. So the Saturn in Pisces piece is makes things more real, right? While with Neptune things are more fuzzy and even deceiving, illusionary, delusion, and manipulation, and all these things come in with Neptune. And with Saturn, there are boundaries or evidence. Let's put it that way. There's more evidence for these things, and then we need boundaries, we need closure, right? So this is also a marker, the Saturn approaching Neptune in end of Pisces. They actually come together on the first degree of Aries in 2026. And for the first time in summer 2025, there is an almost alignment. And that is quite the marker for the end of an era and for the beginning of a new one. So they will come together eventually here on this very end of Pisces and beginning of Aries energy, right? This is the transition of the last sign of the zodiac with the first one. It's a whole new cycle starting. Something brand new is starting when Saturn and Neptune come together on the first degree of Aries. Well, Pluto will be, of course, as it is now in Aquarius. I would say it has a lot to do with Aquarius age. And then it's with Aries, it's like a brave new world of some sort, right? And other things, right? So we're also emerging out of the soup of collective consciousness, and it's a rebirth energy, right? It's the spring equinox energy. Now, Saturn square Jupiter, and then we have this T-square of the full moon with Neptune. We also have now, as I said, Mars is freshly retrograde since the 6th of December, and here in Leo. So it goes back to like 17 Cancer, but for now it travels retrograde in Leo until January 6th. And at that time, it will, I believe it's January 2nd, also oppose Pluto in early Aquarius, early Leo, early Aquarius. That dynamic is building up, and the Mars retro in Leo, let's go to that. I've seen some evidence already. So Mars is a warrior planet. It's also representative of our desires. And with Leo is the desire to be seen, the desire to be important, the desire to be loved, the desire to be special. However, you have phenomena like this whole inauguration ceremony at the Notre Dame in Paris. I was commenting on one of these YouTubes showing all the celebrities showing up there. And like, is it about a tete-a-tete between the important and elite and the celebrities, basically, photo op and so on, right? And or is it really about the glory of God, right? Or is it really about this big oeuvre that is built to honor literally Notre Dame, Our Lady Mary, right? So that gets lost in translation, right? And we can see more and more evidence of this institutionalized narcissism, I call it. And so people take note of that. You can't just fool people anymore and have some, popularity contests that way and people having this happened a lot in the past also with the church, right, with the institutionalized church, basically being an institution that vicariously conveys this connection to the divine, and people feeling important because the church built that fantastic cathedral, but at the same time everybody has direct access to God. And then my question is also, what would Jesus say if they would see the scene, right? So yeah, uh, Pluto in Aquarius, right? Pluto Aquarius is literally the beginning now of humanity and the people taking the power back. And the freedom, right? Power is freedom, freedom is power, is also Pluto in Aquarius. What else do we have? We have also Mercury currently retrograde, and that Mercury retrograde ends literally with the full moon. And on the full moon, the 15th, right later in the afternoon, then the Mercury post-retro storm, in other words, when Mercury is in U-turn from retro to direct, it's already very ever so slowly going forward, but not having much momentum yet. That will go until the winter solstice, the 21st. So keep an eye on that, and typically the pre-retro and post-retro storms are the hottest phase of Mercury retro, when things sort of readjust again. Maybe you noticed already in your communications and that things went glitchy. At the same time, also magical things happened that brought you more into the heart. Encounters with people who you haven't seen in a while, that happened a lot to me on the weekend, and that's delightful. But at the same time, also Mercury retro in Sag wants to bring us more into our heart, into our truth, and being with now in early Sag, or towards the full moon will be early Sag, being courageous, being brave also to speak our truth, to stand in our truth. And even if we stand alone, but we are true to ourselves, right? So that's important. And that also connects with Chiron in Aries, ruled by early Sagittarius having the Mars undertone. So it's also healing to be authentic and to be in our autonomy, right? Then Mars here in early Leo is in trine. This is a trine alignment. It's fire to fire with this Mercury stationary. And that is actually a really good thing. The stationary Mercury, as I said, can also wreak a bit of havoc. But with Mars, also Mars still continuously retro in trine with that, it can really help us to be more outspoken and to be in our truth, as I said, right? And not going for ego, either ourselves or our own, or those catering to other people's egos, right? With Mars, depending where Leo is in your chart, really, right? If Leo is more on your side of your chart, so to say, it could have to do more with you. And if it's more in the realm of 7th house, 8th house, and so on, it tends to be more about other people. However, that can be also projection. So let me just see what else I have on my cheat sheet regarding this week. Waking up this computer here behind this one. So yeah, tomorrow, December 10th, the Sun in Sagittarius goes into fire trine with Chiron in Aries. So there's another dynamic of Aries and Sagittarius, right? So you have multiple themes, multiple variations on the same theme here. More opportunities to be conscious and at the same time really truthful, and also being like a new beginning, right? A new beginning, a new start, a fresh start from the heart, and from the heart, speaking from the heart, being in the heart of consciousness. And then also December 12th, this is all before the full moon that I, in Mercury retro fashion, mentioned first. So backtracking, December 12th, Venus in Aquarius opposes Mars, right? So Venus now freshly in Aquarius, she is more about friendship, she is more about freedom, and yeah, it's joyful to be in all these various group endeavors. And so love is also a matter of freedom, right? So when you are free and when you are truly friends with one another, there is yeah, there's a freshness, there's space, right? It's not claustrophobic and controlling and all of that, right? It's cool basically. And versus Mars in Leo going retrograde can be sort of heated up and can get sort of annoyed and angry at things that could trigger people's ego, right? If it triggers your ego, you can get upset about that, but maybe also people treat you from their ego, right? Then you need to be cool and maybe get some space or call something out. Then we have on Friday Friday the 13th this month, the second Friday 13th this year. The first one was in September, and again this whole paradigm of Friday the 13th, which has been so fear-based and so conditioned, controlled, programmed, right? To it's something to be afraid of, has been very much pumped out by forces, could be the church and others, that are not so much in favor of the divine feminine, right? The divine feminine constituting of Moon and Venus, being a Moon-Venus connection, is celebrated on Friday the 13th. Why? Because Friday is the day of the goddess of Venus. It's like Vendredi, it's Viernes, it's, I think, in Italian, De Veneris or something. Also, Venerdì in Italian. So all of that relates to Venus. And even Freya and Freitag in German and Friday relate, right? So you have Norse goddess for the English and German language relating to Friday, and you have the Roman, Greco-Roman Venus, Aphrodite for the Latin world of you know, of days of the language of the days of the week. So you have Venus, and then you have also the moon. Why is Friday 13th related to the moon? Because there are 13 moon cycles in a year, and there can be 12 full moons or 12 new moons, but typically the cycles are 13, and that is a lunar theme, while Friday is a Venus thing. And so let's celebrate Friday the 13th, Friday the Goddess Day, as I said, and leading up to the full moon, right? And on that Friday the 13th, the moon will be initially also in Taurus, where she is exalted, where she's super strong, right? That's also a great, you know, energy that feeds into that, and then building up to the full moon. So what else is on this week? We are still in mid-Sag until December 11th. And mid-Sag has a Leo undertone. So back to the Leo topic, right? So Leo topic we had with Mars retro, right? And so we are still in this theme around the heart versus the ego and all the decoration and celebration that is really heightened now. And so why do you do it? What do you do it for? The bigger reason, the bigger why is always the Sagittarius thing, right? Then we go from December 12th to 21st to the last part of Sagittarius, which has a Sagittarius undertone. Now we're literally moving through the Galactic Centre from Earth perspective, as the sun does, right? And that are really, it's like really the deep journey, right? The deep journey towards the light. And things get, as we approaching Christmas and winter solstice, things get deeper and even more important to cultivate light through that a dark passage. Right? Then we have currently the moon in Aries as of this morning, and the moon will continue to be in Aries until all day tomorrow, Tuesday, until Wednesday, 7:55 a.m. So Aries moon with Sagittarius sun. Okay, it's like waking this up. 30 minutes. Okay, I will close anytime soon. I just see I've been talking 30 minutes. And so Aries moon likes things to be fast, to be direct, to be bold, to be clear. So maybe you summoned more courage also today or will tomorrow to come out with your truth. That's Sagittarius Aries. And also go out on an adventure. That's very Sagittarius and Aries. Fiery. Then the moon will be in Taurus from Wednesday, all day Wednesday, starting in the morning, 7:55 a.m. Pacific, all day Thursday until Friday, also in the morning, 9:22 a.m. So Taurus moon, as I said before, with Friday the 13th, is very strong, very solid, can be also very much geared towards joy, grounding, stability, where is my place, and all of that. And it slows down the fiery, fast Aries energy. So take it easy with the Taurus moon, celebrate goddess energy. And with the moon entering Gemini on Friday the 13th at 9:22 a.m., there is more lightness again coming in, but we're moving also towards the full moon on the 15th. And there can be, again, so many things to pursue, so many things to do, so much on our minds, so much, it's like people to talk to. We're not writing at this time in Canada because Canada Post is on strike, but maybe that settles also very soon. That would be awesome. And so don't get scattered, don't get overwhelmed, but enjoy and fly around like an reindeer or an elf. And then on Sunday we have the full moon, and the moon will, even in the morning already, since the full moon will be end of Gemini Sag, in the morning at late morning, 11:21 a.m., will enter Cancer, her own abode. So that is kind of an almost Cancer full moon, right? And so there is all, again, the magic of Christmas and home and belonging and really welcoming energy. And all the memories are coming up with Cancer, right? And it's all about being in your heart and being caring and being gentle with yourself and others. And moon will continue to be in Cancer on Monday the 16th until Tuesday the 17th in the afternoon, when she enters Leo at 3:39 p.m. Yeah, that's it for today. Been talking for over half an hour. Hope you got something out of it. And if you'd like to jump up on the treat time train, the special that I have currently on for astrology sessions, that goes on until Christmas Eve, you're most welcome. Just contact me. I will post a link below in the show notes. And it's the best special in the year, especially if you take me up on the maximum deal, which is a 2-for-1. So you can have a session for yourself and gift a session to somebody else at the price of one. So very, very special. And so I wish you well for this week. Happy full moon soon. And we see each other hopefully in real life. And otherwise, you can catch me here. Take care. Bye.